Celestial Requiem. The Fall of the Celestial Guardians. Long ago, Eldoria was a realm where celestial energy flowed freely, a paradise suspended between the heavens and the mortal world. Legend spoke of the astral guardians, divine warriors chosen by the stars themselves to protect the balance of light and darkness. But when the Eclipse Sovereign, an ancient god of void and despair, sought to claim dominion over all realms, the guardians made the ultimate sacrifice, sealing him within the veil of eternity at the cost of their own existence. For centuries peace reigned, and the legend faded into myth. But as time passed, the veil weakened, and whispers of the sovereign's return spread like a cursed wind. Only one could stand against him, the one destined to wield the Requiem Starblade and inherit the will of the lost guardians. That child was foretold to be born among the Skyborn, those gifted with celestial energy. But prophecy is a cruel thing, for when Ren Kaizuki was born, his light did not shine. The outcast of Astralis, Ren Kaizuki had spent his entire life as an outsider. Though he bore the silver-white hair and sapphire eyes of the Skyborn, his celestial energy had never awakened, making him an anomaly in the grand city of Astralis. While others of his kind soared through the skies, weaving the energy of the stars into powerful techniques, Ren was left behind, training in solitude among the ruins of an ancient temple. He refused to accept his fate as a failure. Each day, he pushed himself beyond human limits, forcing his body to endure grueling routines of swordplay, endurance, and meditation. His hands were calloused, his muscles ached, and his clothes were always stained with dust and sweat. He swung a wooden sword repeatedly against an old, cracked stone pillar, his breath ragged with exhaustion. Why? He often asked himself. Why was I born without celestial power? Why was I given this body but denied the light? The wind carried the laughter of young warriors from the training grounds below. Ren turned his gaze toward them. They moved in perfect synchronicity, their bodies glowing with celestial radiance. Their attacks left streaks of shimmering light in the air. He clenched his fists. He had tried to join them once, years ago, but their laughter and mockery had driven him away. "You'll never be one of us, Ren." The words still burned in his mind. He had been nothing more than a defect, an embarrassment to the Skyborn. But he refused to accept that. If the heavens had abandoned him, he would forge his own strength. Ren stood up, his legs shaking from exhaustion, but he steadied himself. The stars above twinkled in silent encouragement, and so he resumed his training, alone yet unwavering. The blood moon rises. The tranquility of Astralis shattered the night the blood moon ascended the heavens. A low, bone-chilling howl echoed across the skies, followed by an unnatural silence. Then the attack began. Shadow beasts, twisted abominations of void energy, descended upon the city in endless waves. They tore through the streets, their monstrous forms shifting between physical and ethereal states, their glowing red eyes hunting for prey. The once proud city, radiant with celestial light, was now engulfed in screams and fire. The astral guardians took up arms, their brilliant energy clashing against the dark monstrosities. But for every shadow beast slain, 3 more emerged. It was an invasion, and Astralis was losing. Ren watched in horror from the temple ruins, his heart pounding against his ribs. He was powerless, yet something deep within him roared in defiance. He had to fight. He sprinted toward the city, dodging falling debris and ducking beneath collapsing archways. Then he saw it. A colossal shadow beast landed before him, its form towering over the ruined streets. It exuded a suffocating aura of pure malice. Its jagged claws gleamed under the crimson moonlight, its fangs dripping with dark energy. It turned its soulless gaze upon him, and in that instant, Ren knew it was going to kill him. The beast lunged, claws slashing toward his chest. Time slowed. Ren barely managed to twist his body, but the sheer force of the attack sent him crashing into the rubble. Blood dripped from his forehead, pain searing through his limbs. His vision blurred, but through the haze, he saw something, a glint of metal buried beneath the rubble. His trembling fingers reached for it, closing around a hilt as cold as ice. And then a surge of power, unlike anything he had ever felt, exploded within him. A brilliant light erupted from the ground, shattering the ruins and forcing the shadow beast to recoil. Ren gasped as energy surged through his veins, igniting a dormant force within him. He barely registered the weapon in his grip, the legendary Requiem Star blade, before instinct took over. His body moved on its own, his arm swinging the blade in a sweeping arc. A crescent wave of celestial light cut through the darkness. The shadow beast howled as its body was severed, disintegrating into specks of void energy. Silence followed. Ren stood there, panting, gripping the glowing blade. For the first time in his life, he felt whole. The journey begins. With Astralis in ruins and the astral guardians barely holding the line, Ren found himself standing before Lady Solaria, a scholar of the Celestial Archives. She had seen the Requiem Starblade awaken in his hands, and she knew what it meant. "You are the last hope of Eldoria," she whispered, her voice filled with urgency. "The Eclipse Sovereign stirs once more. If we do not act, this world will fall into eternal night." Ren swallowed hard, his grip tightening around the Starblade. Doubt clawed at his mind. He had never been strong enough before. Could he really be the one the prophecy spoke of? Solaria led him to Kiro, a rogue mercenary with a past shrouded in mystery. Together, they would embark on a journey across the floating islands, seeking the lost artifacts that could strengthen Ren's power. But the path ahead was treacherous, and enemies lurked in the shadows. Their first stop was the ruins of Seraphis, a once glorious sky-born city now buried beneath the clouds. Legends spoke of an astral gem, hidden within its depths, a relic capable of amplifying celestial energy. But as they delved into the ruins, they quickly realized they were not alone. The Duskborn elite warriors of the Eclipse Sovereign had beaten them there, and among them was their leader Vaelith, a fallen astral guardian. Vaelith stepped forward, his golden eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. He studied Ren for a moment before speaking. "You wield the Requiem Starblade," he murmured. "Yet you do not understand its power. Shall I teach you?" Without warning, he attacked. Ren barely blocked in time. The impact sent him flying backward, his arms numb from the sheer force. Vaelith was beyond anything he had ever faced, but he couldn't back down. The battle for Eldoria had only just begun.